Good evening, everybody. This is Quantum Leap into 2021. We're still going on our 24-hour journey around the world, and really pleased to be introducing our next live workshop host, Barnaby Wynter. Who's going to be running a great session on innovating your business brand. And Barnaby's had in a previous career a top 200 integrated advertising agency, and is also the author of the Brand Bucket program, which he's delivered to 570 plus businesses around the world. So I'm really looking forward to this talk. Two very interesting words joined together here, which is the innovating and the brand. So I'll pass over to Barnaby, and very much look forward to enjoying your talk. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Alex. So I discovered the secret of building a business brand in Paris, of all places. Now, the reason it was in Paris is I'm blessed with three daughters, Kimberly, now 25, Claudia, 21, and Jasmine, 19. And whenever we go away, we build into any holiday a shopping day. And we went to Disney in Paris. That's for me more than anybody else, although it was a birthday, because I think Disney is one of the best expressions of brand you'll ever come across. So I have to go to Disney every 2 or 3 years, and in fact we were scheduled to go this year, but for obvious reasons haven't gone. So we're in Paris, and on the list of shops is a shop called Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, I don't know if you know Abercrombie and Fitch, but it's somewhere where a father does not take 3 daughters and a credit card, because you end up very, very poor at the end of that. It's a strange shop. So we go to this Abercrombie. So we take Le Metro up to the Arc de Triomphe end of the Champs-Élysées, and we walk down the Champs-Élysées, and we get, after an hour and a half, we get to the Place de la Concorde, and we've not found this Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, you'll appreciate I'm getting marginally frustrated. Shopping's not really my thing. So here's the thing. We've been in a couple of shops, no Abercrombie. So I'm getting a bit grumpy, and I'm saying, listen, for goodness. So the mobile phones are out, and it's definitely on the Champs-Élysées, this Abercrombie Fitch, and it's somewhere up on the left-hand side as you walk back up it. So we start to walk up the Champs-Élysées, and we eventually come across this sign in a fence. And what happens is we see this sign, and we go, well, this must be the place. So, and next to it are 2 amazing gates, beautifully ornate gates, with 2 very fine-looking young gentlemen in front of them. And we approach the gates, and the 2 young boys, they say, actually, no, mademoiselle, you cannot come in. We said, what do you mean can't come in? Isn't this the entrance to Abercrombie? Yeah, it is the entrance, but you need to join the queue. So we look to the side, and we notice there's this massive queue. So I look at this queue and I say, hold on, what's going on there? How long is this queue? And they say, oh, today it is about 45 minutes. 45 minutes? You're on a laugh, aren't you? I'm not queuing for 45 minutes to get into this shop. There's no way. So I'm out. So I go and sit on some benches, which you can just see some people hanging around under the trees there to the right-hand side of the screen. And I watch my girls meander through this queue, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And eventually they get to the front, they wave goodbye, and they go in, and I reckon they're going to be gone for about an hour, right? Because they've gone into this shop. So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, this is madness. You know, what am I doing with my life? You know, I'm sitting here, and then I noticed that everybody leaving Abercrombie and Fitch appears to be carrying a shopping bag. So those of you that may know me know I'm very sad and I don't get out very much. So I count this number of people with shopping bags, and I find that of the first 100, 83 people are carrying an Abercrombie and Fitch bag. I go, I must have miscounted. I'm getting delirious, right? I'm 2-3 hours into a shopping trip. I haven't been near a shop. I'm getting delirious. So I count them again. And the second count is 81 people are carrying an Abercrombie and Fitch bag. So I'm thinking, oh, hold on. What is going on here? Here is a shop you cannot find. Here is a shop that when you find it, you can't see into the shop. You can't see anything about the shop. You don't know what it's selling. You have to queue for 45 minutes to get into the shop. And it leads to an 82% conversion rate. Now, I don't know how you're going to do this. I don't know how Zoom familiar you are, but wave at me those that are on camera. Who would like a business where they can't find you? When eventually they find you, your website is useless. They can't get around it. They can't find what you sell, but it leads to an 82% conversion rate. Who would like a business like that? Just wave at me. Just wave. Yeah, I mean, okay. So I'm sat there thinking, well, hold on. This has challenged all my senses here, right? I need to work out what's going on. So this is 5 or 6 years ago. And what I'm going to be talking through today is something that I worked out, I've implemented, and I'm implementing today with businesses right now, right at this moment. And what it will do is it will enable you to innovate the way you approach your brand and actually how you do that right now in the marketing. Because you know what, guys? Marketing is the lead discipline and everything in marketing has changed. So what you may understand as marketing, whatever, may be different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a session that takes you through that. So, and the first thing you really need to understand is that actually business is not about selling anymore. Now, I'm surprised John hasn't smashed his screen, because actually there he's gone. He's already worked out what I've just said, because actually what you need to be doing now is helping people to buy from you. And actually business and marketing is all about helping people to buy from you, not about selling. And I'm going to explain that. The reason for that all comes from this book that came out in 2011. Now, in 2011, everybody's working out this internet thing might be interesting. There might be some stuff going on. Buyers might have a little bit more information they've had before. And the essence of the Challenger sale is the people who sold the most are the people who challenged people's thinking and said, why are you doing it like that? Why haven't you thought about doing it like this? And really making things really challenging their thinking. Now, 3 years ago, they followed that up with this book called The Challenger Customer. And they found that the people that bought the most were the people who embraced the idea that they needed to improve things, they needed to do things. But this book had a revelation. It's here amongst the many books I read. Here it is. This is the live version of that one that you're seeing on screen. And actually, what happened is the revelation is this: at the point of first contact with your business, people have made 57% of the decision to buy from you. 57% of the decisions. They're more likely to buy from you than not buy from you when they contact you for the very first time. Now that gets you thinking, because you go, hold on, doesn't that undermine everything I've ever learned? I've been in the advertising industry for 15 years before I moved into what I do now. And that's not the rule. You know, people didn't know anything about it. You had to shout at them all the time. And that's not what happened. And actually what the lesson from this is, it's not about outbound marketing anymore. It's not about shouting at people anymore. It's not about blasting people with your USP. By the way, the USP died in 1995. It was officially buried in 1995. If you know what a USP is, if you think you've got one, you haven't, just try Googling it. You'll find you're probably not the only USP. Unique selling point or a unique selling proposition. I'm sorry, you are not alone in the universe. There will be somebody else doing something else. So actually shouting your USP at people is a really stupid thing to do. Because what we need to be doing now is reversing the polarity. Because what we need to be doing now is reeling people in who are inbound. They're already heading towards you. And when they first contact you, they've got enough information to be more likely to buy from you than not buy from you. Now, when you think about that, that places a context on a queue outside an Abercrombie and Fitch store that doesn't know what's in the store. They are ready to buy. They've decided to buy in the queue. They don't know what it is they're going to buy, but they're going to buy something. And we need to understand how that works. Now, you might think a great piece of work, Barnaby, well thought through, that's very intelligent. But let's just look at some facts here. There's an organization called HubSpot. They have an amazing CRM system. You can integrate it into your business. It's fantastic. It will help you scale your business. They talk about that actually inbound marketing delivers 54% more leads into the top of your. Now, you'll see I've crossed out a word there that begins with F. I was talking to Alex about this before we started. If anybody talks to you about the F word, it is the F word in my business. We're not allowed to use the word that has been crossed out because, and now let me explain why. So I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this is the F word. Yeah, this is a con, everybody. Just so you know, because what the people want to do is they want you to spend money pouring stuff in the top of here, and so it all flows down the pipeline, right? And then it falls on the floor, right? And then you go, oh, I haven't made any sales. They go, well, that's okay. You can pour more stuff in the top and fuel my business model. Now, not only that, they work this out for the broadcast industry, because if you turn this very cleverly and you shout down it like this, it works as a loud hailer. It's very clever, this, you see. This, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, is complete tosh. Gone. Finished. The F word, forget it. Gone. You need a bucket, because what you want is to keep things in the business that you get. It's late, Pat. Just stay with it. You know, come on. It's 8 o'clock at night. You know, give me a break. So the fact is, this is normally my day job, but this is well into the evening. The truth of the matter is actually there, and not only that, but they cost 61% less than outbound leads, according to HubSpot. So here's the thing, we should be working on generating and capturing the inbound leads that are heading in towards us straight away. Now, here's another piece of information you might want to be wary of. When you wake up in the morning with a challenge, a problem, an issue, what's one of the first things you do? You probably Google it. Well, there's a thing. So actually, this journey that you're spending all your lovely broadcast money on, blasting out your pointless USP to everybody, actually, they're going on Google. And up to 88%, according to the E-commerce Foundation and Mary Meeker, Kleiner Perkins. Now, I love Mary Meeker. You see, I've been messing about with the internet since 1987. That's 2 years before HTML was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. Now, you may think, yeah, whatever, that's just a story. So I have here some evidence, the jury. Here is the very first yellow pages that lists all of the websites in the world. Look at that. There you go. Costs me a fortune, this book. Every single website is in this yellow pages, right? There were 2 editions. And then for some reason, they couldn't print them anymore. I don't know why. Maybe it's because every 100 days, the number of websites in the world doubles. It makes print jobs very difficult. So Mary Meeker, she's been commentating on the internet, and she talks about up to 88% of people undertake pre-purchase research online. So they check you out. Now, whilst you're shouting on the side of a bus or on television and advertising, everybody else is on Google. There's a thing. Well, I wonder what they're seeing over there. Possibly not a good idea anymore. So having got to grips with that in 2011 and managed to get lots of clients to work this out, I was very excited until 18 months ago, Gartner, the big organization, bought CEB, who are the people behind Challenger's Customer and Challenger Sale. And they did some more research. And lo and behold, it has changed again. Just when I was beginning to make some decent money, they went and changed it again. And here I am at 8 o'clock, peddling my wares in the middle of the night, right, intent, or unless you're in America, when it's more or less earlier in the day. The reality is it's changed again. And what's changed is they've discovered that people have worked out that the information that's in the knowledge economy and the digital economy is all pretty damn good. So when I go online and start searching, I kind of get confused again, because it all makes, it's all good stuff. And what they have alluded to is actually the people who are selling the most right now. And this is research that they started releasing in January, and then because of the lockdown, they haven't got it out in public. I was very fortunate to get the full document for research. Here it is, all the thing, and actually see this presentation in January. What they said is people who are making the most money right now are the people who are helping make sense of the buying decision. So people are going in and going, I think I want to buy this. And what they're doing is they're feeding people's curiosity and their innovation and all that sort of thing. And what they're doing is they're making sense of the buying decision. They're helping people to buy. These are the people who are 80% are successful making sense of buying. So we have to think about marketing strategy differently. If you want to innovate your brand, you have to make sure it makes sense to people. You have to use your marketing discipline to help people make sense of their buying decision, to help them buy from you. It all fits perfectly. So, great. So we're all going to talk about brand. Now, if I had a little bit more time, what I would probably do is I would all ask you to put down your definition of brand. But because this is so popular, that would take hours. And when I ask people what a brand is, they usually say, oh, it's a logo, or it's a quality, or it's something in the buyer's mind, or it's something like that. Well, here's the thing. Having been creating brands for 35 years, I can assure you it's none of those. And lo and behold, 18 months, in 1999, I became the youngest managing director of a top 200 advertising agency with a thing called the brand bucket. And I went to my first board meeting and I said to everybody there, 148 person years of experience of creating famous brands, anything from the AA to Carlsberg to FedEx to all of these sorts of things. I said, I understand what a bucket is, what's a brand? And we couldn't answer the question between us. So we spent 3.5 months coming up with a definition of brand. In fact, what they actually said is they said, well, we've employed you because you're a smart aleck. Haven't you got loads of books, which I do? Haven't they got, find us a good definition of brand? So I came back and I had, before the brand. And, there's all sorts of books with the word brand in here. I think I had about 60 of them. None of them had a definition of branding. And you will find that when you read a brand story book that has brand in the title, they don't define brand. And we didn't know either. So we went around a process of defining brands. So I'm going to share that with you tonight because this is what you need to innovate. The fact is, a definition of brand is every experience that affects the relationship between a product or service and its buyer. So let me just explain this to you. See, this isn't branding. See, branding is your logo and your look and feel. Yeah. And for most businesses, it's lipstick on a pig. When I say that, I genuinely mean one of these. This is branding. Yeah. Okay. This is branding, right? Okay. People who don't have a proper business that spend a lot of money with a web designer who knows nothing about design, putting lipstick on it, right? Nonsense. Not branding I'm talking about brand, right? A brand exists in the minds of a buyer. Now, a buyer is somebody who's parted with the one single currency that we have available to us, in spite of what our host BBX might say. And the single currency that people have is time. Now, sometimes you convert time into money by going and earning it and spending your lifetime earning the money. And therefore, when you spend money, you're spending your time. So, of course, when you've had a deal with somebody, you've given somebody some of your time. What you want is proof that they've spent more time doing what they're going to give you than you spent getting the money that you were going to pay them with. So actually, the critical thing is only then do you have a true sense of what a brand is. But that only gives you a sense of what a brand is. What a brand really is today is it's a relationship. It's a relationship that I value more than the relationship I have with my money. So if you as a business owner innovate your business and your marketing so you look like you're worth more than I think money in my pocket's worth, what do you think I'm going to do with the money in my pocket? I'm going to give it to you in exchange for the thing that you've created that looks like it's worth more. And the way you do that is you make sure every experience in your business, from top to toe, lends weight to this amazing relationship that you're going to give. So what's the relationship between? Because I think we should be building them. I think that's what we should be doing, building these relationships. So what I'm going to go through now is I'm going to go through how you construct a relationship, and then I'm going to talk about the specific elements of the relationship, and that will take us to 8:45. So what I'm going to talk to you about is a brand bucket. We've been using it since 1985. There's a whole methodology sitting behind it. I'm going to touch on some parts of the methodology so you have a flavor of it. This is a workshop. The first thing you need to do is you must be able to tell your story so that it makes sense to people. And I can't tell you how often I go into business and I say, what is it that you're all about? And they go, and they give me some huff and puff. And I don't know. And I'm not clear. And we call this a value proposition. A story that when you tell it to people, it helps them make sense of what you're going to do for them. And you know what? If you're standing at a bus stop or you're networking or you're in a group and somebody asks you something, if you've got 60 seconds, don't waste it. And often what people say is, you know, what do you do? And then we huff and puff and we bluster people with a load of nonsense. And at the end of that, they don't really know. Now, I learned all about this in New York. See, now, I don't know if any of you have been networking in New York, but it's an experience that every human being should go through. So I was going over there to develop my speaking career in America. It's quite some years ago. And I have to advise that I have not yet spoken in America. So you'll know that this didn't go well, this particular trip. So what happens, I end up at the Chamber of Commerce in the Bronx, a lunchtime networking session. And I'm stood there, suited and booted, not dissimilar to the way I am, with a glass of something in one hand, a vol au vent in the other. And a chap comes up to me and says, "Hi, I'm Hank Weissmuller. What do you do for me?" I said, "Hello, I'm Barnaby from the UK." "Oh, the UK." I said, "Well, I'm a professional speaker. I'm here in New York to develop my skills. That's what I'm doing." He says, "Oh, great." He says, "Well, what do you do for me?" And I said, "Well, I've got this unique 6-step engagement model called the Brand Bucket. I'm coming teaching business." He says, "Oh, okay, great. Yeah, but what do you do?" You know what? Forget it. And walked off. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm too sensitive for that. I've flown all this way. A bloke has come up to me and asked me a question and has walked off. I mean, what's going on? But the clue was in the question. And the problem in Britain, you see, when you meet somebody, you go, "Well, nice to meet you. What do you do?" But that isn't the question. The question is, what do you do for me? It's a bit rude when we say that in the UK to somebody else. What do you do for me? Because they go, "Well, that's a bit cheeky. You don't know who I am." And all that's nonsense that we go through. In America, they haven't got time for that. They just get on with it. "What do you do for me?" And I couldn't answer the question and he walked off because he had 1 hour for lunch. He needed to get away. He needed to network with other people. I was a waste of time. And so it became. I have yet to speak in America. The clue in your storytelling is you have to be able to answer the question, what do you do for me? Not what do you do for me? Now, interestingly enough, everybody on this call is an expert in something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested in a business talk. You wouldn't be in the industry. You must be an expert in anything. You must be looking to learn and all that sort of thing. So there is a good outside chance that you know your onions, that you are, in fact, a subject matter expert. Now, the problem is if you were born anywhere before the First World War, which many people I can see might have been, the fact is that were taught not to tell anybody about anything. Otherwise, if other people knew what you knew, they would be the same as you. So we've got to keep it all secret. But I'm sorry, in 1995, this thing called the interweb arrived, and it's got everything on it, everywhere. You don't know nothing that isn't on the interweb. Try Googling it, I'm telling you. So what you need to do now is you need to take this subject matter expertise and you've got to, in an authentic way, an insightful way, and with very clear value statements, you've got to tell your story using your subject matter expertise. Share your subject matter expertise. And the reason for that is because actually your value proposition has 4 sets of values in it. And strangely enough, we made them all begin with B. And then what we did is we were able to make them into Bs because we're kind of fun like that. Because we're funsters, fun people. We made them into Bs. So the 4 values begin with B. And we create a value proposition that looks like this. And it has these 4 sets of values. So when you are putting together your value proposition, you must define these 4 values. The first one is, what's your behavioral style? What's your style of doing business? Because actually, if you haven't got a USP, what you do have that's very differentiating is your style. We buy from people we like, don't we? That's how it works. So actually, you've got to communicate in your marketing your style of doing business. And if you want to be straight and technological, if you want to be fun, if you want to be energetic, all of those things, they're all behavioral values. So you've got to define all of those because that's what attracts me to you in the first place. and then you let that go in your marketing. What you then have to do is back that up with your benefits, not your features, not what you do for me. So your benefits. So now I've got your style, and I now know what you're going to give me. What you should also do is do what Stephen R. Covey promises in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There it is. Rule number 1, be proactive. Rule number 2, begin with the end in mind. In marketing, in branding, if you're going to innovate your brand, begin with the end in mind and create a set of beliefs, that things you want people to believe about you after they've interacted with you. So now I've got your style, I know what you're going to give me, and I know what you're trying to get me to believe about you. And then what do you want to be famous for? A single thing, a something. Now, I don't know whether you've worked it out yet, what I'm kind of like to be famous for. Yeah. I'm just, I'm not a subliminal operator or anything, but I don't know if you've worked out what I want to be famous for. Yeah, I'm just a marketing guy. Yeah. So hopefully somewhere along the line you've worked out what I'm famous for. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe it's not working. What do you want to be famous for? So once you've done that, you've then got to, that's the first part of the relationship. The second part of the relationship is, who are you going to engage? You see, the broadcast F-word people, they want you to engage everybody, because then you have to use my telly and my magazine and my bus that drives past everybody. And you have to do that because you need to engage with everybody. No! You see, when you look at your own business plan, you'll probably find you only need 10 or 20 or 30 or a few hundred. You don't need everybody. So you have to define your ideal prospect. And you know what? There's a little fraud going on amongst the broadcast industry, because they created this thing called demographics for marketing. They used to categorize us all. A, B, C1, C2, DE. I prefer not to mix with DEs, obviously. They're aged between 25 and 44. They may be slightly more masculine than they are female, and actually they've got a disposable income of 17.5. And they live in this area. Drivel, utter drivel. If anybody talks to you about that, it's drivel, because that doesn't tell me anything about these people at all. So 18 years ago, we moved across to a thing called psychographics. Now, psychographics is where actually you create a profile and innovate your brand experience for how to way people think, the way they feel, what their experience is, what their expectation is, what their ambitions are, what their aspirations are. We appeal to their value set. Now, on this picture, this is a picture of an organization called Brandy Melville. And I'm sorry that I have 3 daughters, that my whole influence is what young girls do and all that sort of thing. But I am told by my daughters that Brandy Melville, and this is in Portugal, this one, only sell one size of clothes. Now, I don't know if that's true, because I've never been in a Brandy Melville. I think I will probably be arrested. I'm lucky I wasn't arrested for taking this photograph, which my wife actually really gave me a bit of a telling off. Now, what you might be interested about these particular images is all of the young people that are going into Brandy Melville are all sort of of the same body type. Now, think about this. Here are individuals who are young, who are trying to be different, are trying to be unique, are trying to be away, or maybe they're trying to be part of the tribe. They're trying to demonstrate. Actually, they're Brandy Melville wearers, which means they all fit. This is all psychographic. It's got nothing to do with the product or the size. It's all about, if you can get something. So I spoke to my youngest daughter, who's the Brandy Melville fan, and she said, I said, how does it work? She said, well, when I first went in there, everything was really loose, because I was small. And then everything started to fit perfectly, and now it's all a bit tight. That's only because she's slightly older, not because she's put on weight like me. She doesn't take after her father. She's a great athlete. But the fact is, she's grown through it, and it was part of that tribe. That if you're a Brandy Melville, I think that's amazing. I think it's brave. I think the fact that you're picking a target market that's so tight that actually it's really, really busy to sustain that. So what it is, it's no longer about what you know. It's absolutely nothing to do with why you know it or why you're in business or the start with why nonsense. I mean, goodness gracious me. Simon Sinek needs to put that book to bed and say he published it in 2009. I think that was in the last century. It's so old and outdated, that particular thing. What you need to be doing is it's all about how you communicate your brand. So the innovation comes with how you're communicating, help people to buy. And the way to do that, and the third part of this session, is you need to systemize your marketing. You need to have a way of doing things that you know you can measure, monitor, see if they work or anything. Now, you'll be shocked to know, have embedded the brand bucket into a methodology that took us 10 years to design between 2000 and 2010. We had set ourselves a target of 6 months, and it literally took us 8 years in total to define it and then sell it into the market. And we call this MED, on the ed, right? Now, it's only to try and remember it. And if you like football, you'll get this. If you don't know football or soccer or wherever other things, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But actually, this is the model. Your business is, in fact, a bucket. What you're trying to do is you're trying to capture the people who want to buy from you, pull them into your bucket, and blooming well keep them there. That's what defines your business. Marketing impacts every step of the way. So what we need to do is we need to find the right prospects. We need to pour them in the top, and then we take them through a 3-stage process. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to engage with them. The next thing you've got to do is you've then got to demonstrate your value. And then the final part of the methodology is you've got to deliver on your promise. All of these, ladies and gentlemen, rely on marketing. Only marketing thinking can do this. Operations can't do it. The finance department can't do it. I'm afraid sales can't do it. Sales are too transactional, because this is how you build a relationship. You engage, you demonstrate your value, and then you deliver on it. So let me take you through these steps. There are 2 key components to each of the steps. So let's talk about the first 2 on engagement. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to tell everybody you're there. No, I've got that wrong. You've got to tell the people who you know are going to buy from you that you're there. And there's lots of ways of doing that, but the 3 top ways is you could use your name. So if you're Gucci or Chanel or Tesco or Sainsbury's or Cadbury's or whatever, you can use your name. A little health warning on this one. It'll take about 100 years and about 100 million pounds. Now, if you've got 100 years and 100 million pounds, you shouldn't be on this call. I'm telling you, right? You're in the wrong place, right? You should be enjoying your life and not doing that. So getting famous for your name is a real challenge, unless you're a real niche brand. But you can become the vernacular. You can become Thermos or Chapstick or Jumbotron or Aspirin or Taser or Jacuzzi or Photoshop or Zip or Zip Fastener or whatever, or Post-it note. These are all names that were created by companies who innovated in a particular area, and now we use them as common vernaculars. Instead of Hoover, you'll know lots of them. So these are all just generic names. Hallelujah. Very expensive. You have to be very lucky. So the next thing you probably could think about doing is something you could be famous for. So you could have a tagline. So you create an advertising idea or a big idea. Just do it. Think different, because you're worth it. A diamond is forever. De Beers, every little helps. Tesco's, it does exactly what it says on the tin. Ronseal, for some things there are the money can't buy, and for everything else there's MasterCard. Not around it. I'm loving it. You can become famous for these things. It's expensive. You need to spend lots of money on the F word, and you have to keep blasting out to people so the kids in the playground start doing it. Great, if that's what you want to do. It's not the way I would recommend. The best way to do it is to create a brand property as something that is unique to your business, as something you can own, so it becomes recognized. So let me just demonstrate this for you. I could do this on the camera, but does anybody know what that is? Thumbs up if anybody knows. There you go. There it is. Does anybody know what that is? Oh, you see. Okay, I'll give you a bit more of a clue. Does that help? Does anybody know what that is? Yes, we have a thumbs up. Alex, thank you very much. Okay, so this is Heinz, of course. Heinz 57. Yeah. Now, what does it mean, Heinz 57? Well, 57 varieties. It says it on the packet. Varieties of what, say I? And you go, beans. I go, no, not varieties of beans. No, wrong. Ketchups, tomatoes. No. Here's the thing, guys, it's completely made up. H.J. Heinz decided he liked the number 57. He then went about owning it. He changed his telephone number to 57. They moved to an address called 57 somewhere in Pittsburgh when they opened the factory. Up to 1969, if you wrote to H.J. Heinz and said you were about to be 57, they would send you a box of 57 products. And in 1993, I think it was, they paid $57 million for the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium to call it the Heinz Stadium. They owned the property. And now when I show this normally to people who are less tired and marginally more intelligent than you, people go, oh, that's the Heinz number. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. So that works. It's just made up. Now, this is a great way of doing things. So this company has also got a property in it. And the brand bucket was used to make this brand famous across the world, way back when. It has a property in it. Now, if you know what it is, you'll go, oh, I know what he's going to say next. But if you don't know, I'm about to ruin your life. So here I go. So those of you who don't know, I'm about to ruin your life, right? I get paid to ruin people's lives by doing this. Because the brand property on this is not the purple or the orange, it's the arrow. There we go. You will never see the FedEx logo without the arrow again. Let me just make sure that happens, right? It's a good thing about having one of these. You just go backwards and forwards like this until eventually you cannot not see the arrow. Magic. So we created ads with planes flying all over, following the arrow, all that sort of thing, and that's what made us famous. This is probably my proudest piece of work, one of these, if you know what that is. Ah, there you go. This is one I've created. So when you see people wearing this, you'll see I've got see somebody's wearing a touch of Barnaby. What that is, of course, is from Marie Curie Cancer Care, one of the most famous icons in available. And in America, one of the big brands there was this one. I created this, 2 converging arrows for E-Trade, which became the world's largest online broker. And we created a brand property which had a converging purple arrow that was crossing over, and one was pouncing, and one was stalking, and one was pouncing. So what they did with E-Trade is you could watch the share price, and when you decided you were going to buy, you could click on a button and buy it all online. It was all very exciting. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can do this with your business. There isn't a single business. I've created hundreds and hundreds of these brand properties. I don't know if you worked out what mine is. Yeah. I'm not subliminal or anything, just in case. Yeah. Just in case you hadn't got it. Right. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to get recognized. You need to be. The second step to engage people is you've got to match image. Now, what I mean by this, you see, not only our research showed us that not only do we buy from people we like, we buy from people like us. There's so much choice that we get to pick people that we like who are like us. So you'll find that your favorite customers, your favorite clients, your favorite all these sorts of people are people who are very much like you. So what you need to do at the next step is you have to say, you're like me and I'm like you. And what you've got to do is you've got to understand them and help them make sense of all the insights. And there's lots of ways of doing that. But here's Abercrombie & Fitch. You type Abercrombie & Fitch in that famous Google thing that I was mentioning earlier. And when you type it in, you get this. And then you go to their Facebook page, you see this. And then you go to their Instagram page and you see this. And you go to their LinkedIn page, you see this. And if you go to Twitter, you see this. And if you go to a blog site, you'll see that. And if you go to a YouTube channel, and if you this is what you see. Now, look at this, everybody. I don't know about you, but doesn't that look like a shop? Doesn't it show people wearing the clothes? Doesn't it have videos on it and all that sort of thing? I am going to buy that blouse. I'm going to buy that dungaree set. I'm going to buy those shorts. I have made my decision to buy long before I go to Paris. And then I'm quite happy to queue for 45 minutes because I know inside there is the purchase. So you say, oh, that's great. Young people, you're an old duffer. What are you talking about? Basing marketing on what young people do. Yeah, what you're on about. Here's the thing. Let's look at Oracle. One of the biggest B2B businesses. Oh, and then you go on their Twitter profile, and you go on their Facebook profile, you go on their LinkedIn profile, you go on their YouTube channel. You find that they've also got a blog site, and they've got Instagram, and they've got all of these things. Oh, it's got all their CEO talks. It's got all of the content is out there. So when I go in and want to find out about Oracle and make some decisions, they help me do that. We all need to do that. We need to own our space on the interweb, across all the social media. It's all very exciting. Quick word on SEO. It's no longer about keywords. If they tell you that, it's about relevance and authority. And the way you create authority is you publish content, you drive forward, and the authorities will share that. And what happens is, because it's authoritarian, it gives you some kudos. You make sense. But here's some facts. The average blog post is 500 words. The average one on the first page is 1,500 words. And the ones that are in the top 3 are 2,500 words. That's the sort of blogs you've got to be writing now to help people make sense of things. You need long form copy. And social media is driving product discovery. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. You can see the numbers coming through now. Yeah. Now, just to be clear, that's amongst 18 to 34-year-olds. Oh, the next set of decision makers. Interesting. Better watch that trend. Better be there. Better be ahead of it. So to bring people into the bucket, you got to make sense of the subject matter expertise. Put in the blogs. Get involved in forums. Go networking. Do some showcases. Do podcasts. Do get involved with influencers. Get insights out, guys. This will innovate your business brand. If you can get your insights, share your subject matter, people will come to you because your style, not because of what you know. So having engaged, you need to demonstrate. Again, 2 key components on that. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to communicate your benefits. And the best way to do that is to demonstrate value through this formula. So product quality plus service quality, price play plus ease of doing business. The critical thing about this is 85% of the perception of value comes from service quality and ease of doing business. They're not interested in the product. They're not interested in the price. This is Gallup. They know the product's got to be up to some kind of standard. They know what the price is. And think about it. Here are the brands. What have all these brands got in common? Amazon, Airbnb, Expedia, Just Eat, Google. I'll tell you what they've all got in common. They're all online. No, what they've all got in common is they don't make the product. They sell other people's hard work. They're just distribution channels. They are dominating the stock exchange. And all they are is how business is. They do service. They do ease of doing business. They don't worry about the product. And of course, we do this, we do that, you and me, we just don't care anymore. We've got to turn features into benefits. And once we've done that, we've got to push them into a test drive. So your website should be a booking site for your test drive. So here's a chiropractor. You can rate your health, get a free health check, book a massage. That's it. There's nothing about chiropractor. Here's a technical company where you talk to an expert, get a quote, request a test kit. Here's the UK's #1 job site. Fill a job for £29.99, but it's covered in things where you can test drive it. You can book a demo, you can sign up, you can get a free employee account, you can do all this thing. The whole website is about doing something together. So you're demonstrating your value that way. And that brings the 57% in, and it gives them a go. And at this point, a purchase takes place. Fantastic. The marketing people pack up, go to lunch. Actually, no, this is where marketing really stops and really starts, because actually, here's the health warning. Do not treat your buyers as customers. The customer is dead, because what in neuroscience terms it does, it means you assume you're in a relationship with these people. You're not. So you've got to treat everybody post-purchase as a paying prospect. You've got to keep talking to them as if they're about to go away. So having got them to purchase, you've now got to deliver the last part of it. Make the experience of being an owner of your product or service truly amazing, so people just talk about it. Now, for our American audience, you'll know about In-N-Out Burgers. Lindsay Snyder was the first female billionaire in California. She's opened 300 burger joints in California, home of McDonald's and Burger King. And what she does is she sells one burger. It comes in three variants. You can have it as a double, a cheeseburger, or a hamburger. And it can have it with fries, and you can have a drink. That's it. There's nothing else available. But what she then does is she makes you watch it being made, handmade by these guys. And they talk about fresh chips. This guy takes raw potato, the back, you can see, takes raw potatoes, puts it in the chipper, scoops the chips up and puts them in, and the other guy gets them. By the time the burger arrives, you're drooling all over your shorts. I'm telling you, forget the t-shirt. It goes past the t-shirt, straight onto the shorts. You look like you've messed yourself. It's so amazing. McDonald's, you go in, You walk up to a giant mobile phone, you take the germs from the last order something off the screen, you press these buttons, you get an Argos ticket, and you go to a counter and collect your food. That is not the same experience. It's not the same experience. So you've got to immerse people in the experience of how you do things. And then what the final step is, build loyalty. Say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. By adding value, doing gifts, tips and tricks. It's the chocolate on the pillow. It's when you go and stay in a hotel and you think, oh my goodness, generates repeat purchase, creates advocacy. Right, I'm nearly there, 1 minute. The numbers are 1 paying prospect to the bottom, 3 to 5 test drives, 30 to 50 inquiries. These are the numbers that you plan to get the 57 inbound. That's why it's shaped like a bucket. We research this time and time again. The final point, if you get all this right, if you innovate your relationship making tool, you will be ready for AI. And it's coming. The kids use Alexa more than real radio. They are working out how to use voice activated human devices. It's coming. So to innovate your brand, start with your value proposition. Treat everyone as a prospect always. Focus on inbound. Run your marketing as a process. I use a thing called ED, which is engaging, making sense, be insightful, demonstrate your value, deliver, make buying from you amazing, and then build valued relationships with AI, focus on AI. Guys, I've been Barnaby Wynter of the Brand Bucket Company. Thank you very much.
Amazing, great stuff, Barnaby. Fantastic. So every time I hear you, it gets better and better and better. Every new performance is better than the last, and I have heard you a few times.
That's because you make me practice, John.
There you go. You need to get together with John Scholl. I don't know if you caught the show with John.
I didn't know. I'm afraid not. I had 2 other keynotes today, right? Weirdly.
I'll connect you guys up, but I think you could add value to each other. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we've been on here a fair time tonight, so thank you, Barnaby. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We'll obviously record the session and have it sit up here till the 31st of January. And we look forward to doing some long business with you. And for the people on the call, if you can just take 1, 2, or 3 little things away from this presentation, then I'm sure you'll get the benefit in your business. So Barnaby, thank you very much. Barnaby Wynter.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So stop recording.